Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with this edition of School Talk. We have someone very special here. Sir, please introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do.
Officer Keith Habig with the Clark County School District Police Department, and I go around now and I teach a safe driving program to the students within the Clark County School District called Zero Teen Fatalities.
Okay, so one of the things that we want parents to understand that are watching this right now, okay, is that if they allow their child to get in a car either that they own, that's on their insurance, or their whatever the situation is, and that child goes out and does whatever it is that they do, and that child has people in their car, and that child lives, and people in their car lose their life, and they're for vehicular manslaughter,
correct,
or something like this which happens, their life is over.
It could very well be, right? We have to look at everything to kind of figure out. But, you know, if that individual does something wrong and does cause the life of somebody else, yes, they're going to be, you know, charged with, you know, the appropriate, you know, crime for that.
Yeah.
But my other big thing is, what if it's not their fault, right? Let's say, for example, your son is, picks up a friend and they're driving down the street, but he doesn't make his friend put on his seatbelt. And they get into a crash and the passenger gets ejected and he dies. I go, now your son has to live with that for the rest of his life, thinking I could have saved his life simply by telling him to put his seatbelt on. So it can still hit home that way too. You know, these are things that we have to live with for the rest of our lives. So why don't we try to make the strongest, best decision, and that's going to keep us the safest, right? So that's what I try to talk to the kids about, and when I talk to the parents, hey, talk to your kids. I had one parent that was like, so should I let my son, because they're allowed to drive with their siblings when they get their license, should I let my son drive with his siblings? And I go, well, let me ask you this. I don't drive with your son. How good of a driver is your son? He goes, I don't think he's the greatest. Then I probably wouldn't do it. Right. 100. You know, if you don't think he's the greatest driver, then why are you gonna, put more people in his car and maybe give him more distractions, or give him maybe somebody else that he might hurt? And they're like, that's a good call. That. Yeah, people don't. They're just like, but I need him to take. Okay, I understand you need it, but if you don't think he's a good driver, then why would you put them in that situation? That's a good point. I'm like that. That's all I'm getting at. Because I don't know how he drives. If you think he's a good, safe driver, he's going to do the right things, then sure. Because there are 100%.
You know what I mean?
Then go ahead. And I'll have parents that are like, man, my son is a great driver. My daughter's horrendous. Or vice versa.
Right,
it could go either way. Right. And I'm like, I get it. Right. So I've got an older child. He's 23 years old, so he's been out on his own. He's been driving for 6-7 years.
Okay.
And when he comes in, if he comes by and he picks up his younger brothers to take him somewhere, I'm like, he's a good driver. I've driven with him. He's a good driver. Go ahead and go. Right. But if some of the friends come over to the house and I'm like, I've seen him driving, you're not getting in his car, and my son's like, I just want it, we're going to go out. And I'm like, I've seen him drive
and you're not
getting in his car. So, and then I'll have a little sit down with that young man and be like, look, I'm not your dad, but I've seen you drive and this is what I would recommend, this, and this,
we have to do everything we can for all the children and the young adults and everything like this, you know what I mean? And so your message, how many kids do you see a year?
So just this past year, we spoke to 15,750 kids.
15,000 kids. So
yes.
Keep the message going. You know what I mean? And so I appreciate very much. We're going to look at this camera now, and then we're going to wave. We're going to say, see you later, okay? See you later.
See you later.